Okay, so we're getting ready now for another keynote. This is our second to last session here on the solution stage at AI for Good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. The keynote is called "The Time Is Now: A New Frontier in Child Safety on Smartphones." And to deliver this keynote is Rena Maycock. She's founder of Chirp Child Protection Software. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you to the ITU and the AI for Good initiative for the opportunity to come and speak with you here today. So I'm Rena Maycock. I'm founder of Chirp, a company that was built with a single clear mission, and that's to protect children where they are most vulnerable on their mobile phones. Let's begin with something that we all know, but we don't say out loud often enough. A child can be bullied, groomed, exposed to harmful content, driven to self-harm or even suicide through what they see or experience on their mobile phones. And it can happen while they're sitting at the dinner table, alone in their bedroom, or in the middle of a school day. They don't need to leave home anymore to be in danger. We live in a world where mobile phones are now a basic part of childhood. Children are getting their first smartphones younger than ever. They use them for everything: schoolwork, messaging, entertainment, and connecting with friends. But they are also being exposed to violence, exploitation, peer pressure, and harmful content, often without parents or teachers even knowing it's happening. Now, you might be thinking, surely the technology exists to stop this. But rather, it hasn't until now. I started this company 8 years ago, around the time I started having my kids, and my perspective changed entirely. All of a sudden, all I could see were headlines of kids that had been systematically cyberbullied, groomed, sextorted from, coerced, and pushed into suicide. And the one common thread was parents didn't know there was a problem until it was far too late. And even though my kids were just toddlers, I knew it would just be a matter of time before they started looking for a smartphone. And I wondered why technology wasn't dealing with this problem for parents. So I took a deep dive into the parental control market to see what tools were available to parents when they gave their child a phone. And the state of the art today is almost the same as it was back then. The tools available to protect kids on smartphones are parental control apps. There are about 250 parental control apps on the app stores, and they all share a variety of features. They have access restriction and monitoring to stop your child becoming addicted to their phone. They have pornography and gambling website blocking, and they have geofencing and geo-tracking so you can find your child. But none were dealing with cyberbullying and grooming. Some claimed they could, but if you looked under the hood, all they could do was track contact numbers and text volumes. They couldn't access the actual messages to assess the message content. And I was thinking, surely I'm not the only parent that's concerned about this. And I recall looking at a WebWise study that was done by the Irish government at the time, and it was to assess parents' main concerns when they gave their child a smartphone. So parents had four main equal concerns. They were afraid their child would access pornography, spend too much time online, be groomed, or be cyberbullied. So the pornography and the access restriction were being super served by the parental control apps on the market, but the other 50% of parents' needs weren't being met at all. So I started to investigate why nobody was dealing with this problem for parents. And in order to do so, they needed to access harmful user-generated content. And I realized nobody was doing it because it's hard. Cyberbullying and grooming happens in messaging and social media apps. Parental control apps sit at the same permissions layer as Snapchat, TikTok, WhatsApp, Discord, etc., which means you can download all of the best in show of parental control apps to your child's device, but they can never access data within those other apps. If you want to detect harmful communications, you need to go deeper into the tech stack, which means your technology cannot be downloaded over the air. It needs to be embedded at point of manufacture. That's why no one was doing it. It's because it's hard. Around the world, children are getting their first smartphones at younger and younger ages. This trend is driven by growing presence of digital technology in everyday life and shifting attitudes amongst parents, many of whom see smartphones as essential tools for learning, communication, and safety. However, this early access brings serious challenges, especially when it comes to online safety and exposure to harmful content. By the end of 2023, a global survey compiled by Razorfish found that 90% of children aged 9 to 13 had access to a smartphone. In the US, children get their first smartphone on average age 10. In Ireland, it's 9. Numbers in the UK show an even more dramatic shift. According to Ofcom, nearly 1 in 5 children aged between 3 and 5 have their own mobile phone. Among them, more than half use messaging apps, and over a third are active on social media. Alarmingly, 60% of these children have their own social media profiles, even though most platforms, by law and policy, require users to be at least 13 years old. Use of encrypted messaging platforms like WhatsApp and Snapchat are also growing among children, with 31% of 3 to 5-year-olds in the UK using WhatsApp, and 23% of them are on Snapchat. These platforms with hidden chats and disappearing message functions make it harder for parents, teachers, or even tech companies to monitor what children are seeing or sharing, creating an even riskier digital environment. This early and largely unsupervised access means that children are exposed to harmful content or interactions they're not emotionally equipped to handle, ranging from cyberbullying and graphic content to grooming and other forms of exploitation. Parental controls and education campaigns can help, but they often lag the pace at which children adopt and adapt to new digital tools. Tech companies, regulators, educators, and parents all have a role to play in responding to this shift. The goal should not be to stop children from using technology, but to ensure that the digital environments they enter are safe, age-appropriate, and supportive of their well-being. Parents need tools and not judgment. When we talk about early smartphone access, we need to talk about the dangers that children are facing when they go online, because the risks are not hypothetical. They are severe, well-documented, and growing. First, let's talk about cyberbullying. It has now overtaken in-school bullying as the most common form of harassment among teens. It isn't just a one-off nasty message anymore. It's relentless, coordinated, and often anonymous. It follows children home, it reaches them in the middle of the night, and it can be devastating. Globally, around 1 in 10 children report being cyberbullied every month. In Europe, that number rises to 1 in 6 school-aged children. And children who are cyberbullied are 3 times more likely to consider suicide. Then there's online grooming, sextortion, and exploitation. The internet is now a hunting ground. Predators don't lurk in dark corners anymore. They hide in plain sight, using chat rooms, encrypted apps, and even emojis to manipulate children. According to a study conducted in 2024 by Childlight, over 300 million children globally are victims of technology-facilitated sexual exploitation and abuse every year. In the US alone, 500,000 predators are estimated to be active online every day searching for children. And it's starting younger. A 2025 investigation found children as young as 8 were being solicited on the gaming platform Roblox to share explicit content via Snapchat. In October 2024, Alexander McCartney, a 26-year-old computer science student from Northern Ireland, was given a life sentence for the mass online child sexual abuse and blackmail of young girls around the world, with police saying one incident led to a 12-year-old American child and her father taking their own lives. Operating from the bedroom of his family home, McCartney groomed victims on messaging sites including Snapchat and Instagram by making them believe they were talking to a teenage girl of similar age. He would then encourage them to send indecent images or engage in sexual activity via a webcam or mobile phone, which he would then share online with others and use to threaten the children. He regularly took on the identity of previous girls he had targeted, and sometimes forced victims to involve siblings as young as 3 in the abuse. Sextortion is also on the rise, usually carried out by organised crime gangs who pose as young girls. They entice teenage boys to share explicit images of themselves, which are then used to extort money from the child. And finally, self-harm and suicide ideation. We are seeing a mental health crisis fueled in part by exposure to harmful content online. And this isn't fringe content. It's in mainstream feeds delivered by algorithms. A 2022 study by the Samaritans found that 83% of young people had seen content related to self-harm or suicide online without searching for it, most by the age of 14. Amnesty International's review of TikTok's For You feed showed that after just 3 to 6 hours of use, nearly half of recommended videos related to self-harm or mental health, many romanticizing and normalizing very dangerous behavior. Parents are overwhelmed, regulators can't keep up, and many tech companies either don't know what's happening on their platforms or they don't want to know, and meanwhile, children are paying the price. Let me introduce you to Chirp. At Chirp, we have developed a patented operating system modification at the kernel level of the OS. It is at this point we can access all incoming and outgoing messaging and searches on the most used apps for kids, even encrypted apps. We compare those messages against our own multimodal small language models for harm and block messages that trigger our detector, alerting parents in real time if their child is under threat. So if we detect your child as being cyberbullied, we block the message and alert you. Chirp's camera intercept will detect if your child is trying to take and send a nude image, so we can discard it and tell you who they were trying to send it to. Or Chirp's search query intercept can tell if your child searches for ways to harm themselves and sends you an urgent alert and guidance on what to do next. Leveraging deep tech and AI, Chirp is embedded child protection software which works to make the internet a safer place for children. Chirp is not an app. Our unique technology has been built into the fabric of the smartphone, setting us apart from all other parental controls on the market. Chirp works by analysing and filtering direct messages, social media comments and browser searches, both entering and leaving a child's device. We can detect and block inappropriate text, images, grooming patterns, self-harm searches, bullying or harassment, even in encrypted apps, but without the need for decryption. All of which is done without any noticeable lag and alerts parents in real time. Chirp's patented solution will help to make the internet a safer place for children by uniquely analysing, detecting and blocking harmful communications and searches, giving early warnings to parents so they can intervene quickly. Chirp is the only filtering solution for disappearing and encrypted messaging, providing a last technological line of defence against online threats, which big tech are currently failing to address. Chirp will help reduce cyberbullying and self-harm associated with smartphone use, making families' worlds friendlier, while also facilitating the early detection, reporting and prosecution of online predators with its red button function. Here's a demonstration of just one of our features. Thank you. Chirp does not rely on keywords alone. We use context-aware models that understand negative sentiment in messaging, coded grooming patterns, and evolving self-harm language that changes to avoid detection. And importantly, Chirp's process does not invade a child's world. The parent cannot view all of the child's online activity. Only dangerous content is flagged. We work directly with families, telcos, and device manufacturers to embed this safety layer at the operating system level, so children can have reasonably unfettered access to their device, but they know Chirp will step in if they are in danger. Children feel trusted and independent, and their privacy is preserved. Privacy and data protection are at the core of how Chirp is built. When we're talking about protecting children online, it's not just about spotting harmful content. It's also about making sure their personal data stays private and secure. Chirp uses on-device AI. That means most of the analysis happens right there on the child's smartphone, and personally identifiable information is removed before any cloud analysis occurs, so it doesn't send their personal data to external servers. This allows Chirp to filter harmful content without putting sensitive information at risk. We've designed Chirp to be fully compliant with EU privacy regulations, including GDPR. It also aligns with the AI Act, the Digital Services Act, and COPPA, among others. In short, Chirp aims to meet or exceed the privacy and data protection laws wherever it's used, both in the EU and internationally. Chirp operates under the Privacy by Design framework. From the ground up, we've embedded data protection into the architecture. That includes strict limits on what's collected, how long it's retained, and who can access it. Personal data, including messages and behaviour patterns, are handled according to GDPR principles: lawfulness, fairness, transparency, minimisation, and purpose limitation. To further safeguard privacy, Chirp applies its own data anonymisation tools on messaging data, so no personally identifiable information is ever exposed. Even in the event of a cyber attack, a child's data can't be traced back to them. And importantly, Chirp doesn't conduct mass surveillance. It doesn't track everything a child does. It only flags high-risk content or behaviours. Parents have control over the data, and flagged information is automatically deleted after a short retention period. In cases where Chirp detects child sexual abuse material, the system deletes it immediately. It's never stored, never accessible, even to parents. Chirp is designed to protect children, not to watch them. It's a system that takes both safety and privacy seriously and treats them as inseparable parts of the same mission. Chirp is not spyware. Spying simply pushes children into secret internet use, where they go and buy a burner phone and parents have no visibility at all. Chirp uses co-design principles so that children are involved in the evolution of the solution. Our goal has been not to spy on children, but to give them ownership over their own online safety. We foster a collaborative approach where children and parents work together to prevent harm, which ultimately reduces familial friction around technology use. At onboarding, Chirp goes even further than GDPR requirements and asks for the explicit agreement of the child before the solution activates. The child always knows Chirp is working in the background to provide a safety net, but that net is supplemented with educational resources through which parents and children can learn about mitigating risks and how to enjoy all of the great benefits of digital citizenship without being harmed. To reach and protect as many children as possible, Chirp is focused on working directly with telecom providers, not just because of their reach, but because of their established relationships with major device manufacturers. These partnerships are key to us scaling adoption quickly and effectively. Alongside this commercial progress, we're also investing heavily in research partnerships to keep Chirp at the forefront of both technology and ethics. We've partnered with the National Anti-Bullying Research Centre at Dublin City University, which is led by Professor James O'Higgins-Norman, the UNESCO Chair for the Prevention of Bullying in Schools and Cyberspace. This collaboration brings global best practices in cyberbullying prevention directly into Chirp's design, aligning our AI filtering with international standards for child protection. We're also working with the ADAPT Centre at Dublin City University, one of the world's leading hubs for AI and digital content research. Their input is helping us fine-tune Chirp's content moderation tools and privacy-preserving AI systems, ensuring we stay ahead as tech evolves. Through this partnership, we also leverage the Research Ethics Committee at DCU to ensure best practices when it comes to our research with children. And finally, we've teamed up with Amoric Research to conduct in-depth consumer research. This work gives us critical insights into what parents want, what they're worried about, and how digital safety expectations are shifting. It helps keep Chirp grounded in the real concerns for families. For example, Chirp has a very simple setup process to optimize adoption. Parents don't need a computer science degree to set it up. And Chirp's OS modification is a part of the fabric of the device, therefore it's not vulnerable to deletion or tampering by tech-savvy teens. At Chirp, we believe children should be free to enjoy all of the great benefits of technology use, the education, entertainment and connectivity, but without the harms. Our mission is to reduce the mental health impact of device use and alert parents to threats to their child early so they can intervene before serious damage is done. Chirp is ushering in a new paradigm in online safety. With our innovative embedded approach, we believe we have proven that harmful content can be detected and blocked without compromising safety and security. But we need collaboration. Here are a few things that we believe need to happen. Telcos and OEMs must offer AI-powered child protection tools as standard. Regulators should define minimum digital safeguarding standards for children, just as we do for other areas such as seatbelts, alcohol consumption, movies, etc. Platforms must open up data responsibly so real-time harm can be addressed and not buried in moderation queues. We're inviting everyone in this room, legislators, regulators, telcos, device manufacturers, and child protection experts, to help pioneer what we call a safety by default smartphone experience for kids. That means phones that can detect harmful content as it happens, mobile networks that support real-time interventions when children are at risk, and clear policies that hold platforms to account for what reaches children on their devices. Chirp is ready to be your partner in this. Our innovative technology is about to begin pilot testing. It's built to scale. We have the tools. We have the tech. What we need now is action, and our focus is clear and urgent. Protect children on the devices they use every day, now. Thank you.